Hey there, Heather.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Grant.
Greetings.
What are you doing?
Oh,
Feels like you're in a hotel somewhere.
yeah, true.
Please,
Uh,
please,
I'm
tell us.
I'm in Australia's capital city, Canberra, and
Okay.
that's all to remark about it. No, it actually is it is a beautiful city. I just don't get to see much of it.
I feel like I was
So
watching like some stupid TikTok video with somebody walking around saying for $10, what's Australia's capital?
yeah,
And then
yeah,
it was like for $20, then for $30, and he got to like, I don't know, 240, and finally somebody guessed it.
yeah. They'll all be like Sydney.
Sydney,
Melbourne.
Melbourne, Perth. That was it.
They'll be
Somebody said Washington. I was like, really? Could you find people with half a brain to ask this question to at the very least?
very good. Do you
I was
know
like,
if reminders went out today? We got a few people
mhm.
coming in. Okay, cool.
I got
Reminders
an email
did go up.
on Monday also.
I know. I was really on top of it this week.
Wow,
No, I know
cool.
it surprised me too.
I'm sure we'll get some people coming along.
4 of them at the very least.
That's right. We've got a few there so far. Do you know it's going to be 5 years in March? Obvio's turning 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe we should try and build a website by then.
Seems like a good
That's
idea.
awesome.
Hey, Jeff. There's
Hey guys,
John.
good to see you.
See you. I guess we're just waiting for a few more people. Is there any questions there, Heather? Good start. Good start. What do you got on there? What do you got on there, Blue?
Hmm?
Is that? I'm trying to see if it's some sort of sport. Oh,
It's
news. It's not.
it's just a background. Yeah, it's like a news centered background that we have on the wall.
Okay.
Fast action election news.
Yeah, we're a little late.
Okay, I'm not going to respond to that. That was
We're
an easy.
we're gonna try and be the
Still
people who
gonna show up.
call the Alaska House race before anybody else. That's what we're gonna do. I believe that one still open. I feel like that still hasn't been called. There's like a couple of House races that are still like in like multiple recounts, right?
I always think it's hilarious that and the same with all countries. It's like they get an initial count out very quickly and then takes them weeks and weeks to actually finish the count.
Yeah.
The numbers
We're
don't add up.
at
The timing doesn't work.
99% of the vote, but that last 1%, man, it takes a
Yeah,
long time.
because we've sent all the people home, and so there's just one dude
Yeah.
sitting there.
Yeah. There's
One,
one retired
two.
person with like some assistant who keeps going 76, 77. And the person's like, gosh darn it, I gotta start again.
You already
Um,
said that. You already said 67.
That's awesome.
It's good to laugh.
So yeah, well, it's about all you can do.
Are you guys up for questions?
No, no, we're just gonna goof around
Chat,
for
chat,
another
chat.
10,
Yeah.
20
You want to
minutes.
just continue to wind up a little bit?
Yeah. Let's get ourselves worked up and then we'll start talking. All right, let's go. Questions. We're ready, John. Bring it on.
Okay. Well, so I have this. I'm not ready for my 3-day event, but I have this 5-day challenge coming up, and I'm thinking, wow, I could use the Obvio dashboard for the 5-day challenge. And so I went to go read through and have you guys set it up, right? Because there's a form to set it up. And so I walked through that process. And what I realized is there's a whole bunch of questions that I have that I don't understand. The first one is the last question on the form says, do you have an admin account set up? And I'm like, ooh, I have no idea. I don't even know how to tell.
Yeah, the answer is yes. I actually don't know what that question is. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
If you have an owner, if you can log in, you have an admin account, so you're good.
Okay. I'm covered.
Pretend we didn't ask that question, please.
Well, these little things throw me and then it says required, so I don't know what to put there.
Just say yes. Just say yes.
Okay, got it.
100%. Say I've got 10 of them. Doesn't matter.
Okay, so I like the classic view out of the bunch.
Yeah.
And so I
have
can
you done
select that.
an opt-in page for your challenge yet?
Yes.
What's the URL for your challenge?
businesswit.com/fast track to business freedom.
Jesus, can you type that in fast?
I can do that. Yeah.
Track to business freedom. Let's see if I got that right. Nope. Did you say business with?
I'll get it. I'm putting it in chat right now.
With
so much better. I can't spell. Everybody knows that.
W-H-I-T.
All right, I just put it into chat.
Wit. That makes way more sense than what I typed. I was only one letter off. That's good.
Yeah, but that'll put you in East Georgia.
Yeah, it's definitely the wrong place. Why is that not? Oh, because there's no slash in that. All right, there we go.
Oh, I should have had a slash. You're right.
Okay, so do you mind if I share my screen?
Oh, go ahead.
I assume we don't have a tremendous amount of questions that have been submitted, Heather. Would that be accurate to say? Or do you have
I did not. I just jumped in because I had
No, not you, John. Just in general. I'm asking a question before I dive into something.
No, Jeff just posted 2 possible chances of future things, and then Jeffrey just posted one, but you're good. Go for it, Blue.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. So John, what's your, I'm going to do this in a slightly different way than we normally do, because normally you have to fill out that form and, then we do
that's
it.
What I was
but, yeah, exactly. But what I'm kind of thinking is, why don't we just do this together, right now? Instead of me buying a new Mac Mini, we'll have me, do something on, on Obvio. What's your, organization name?
Business Wit. All one word.
Is it possible that it's John Witt's organization?
Yes, it is possible.
And then the event itself is this one here?
Well, so I haven't actually, that's my test. Actually, second thing. First up, I had 2 events. Yeah, we can create an event now and call it Fast Track to Business Freedom.
Is it 2 words?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want it with a hyphen like you have it in your page title for your opt-in? Like that?
Yeah. Yeah. I try to make everything consistent.
Yep. Sounds good. What time zone are you in?
Pacific.
When's the event?
December 2nd. Start to 2nd, end on the 6th. Oh, that's a lot of attendees.
Well, let's just be optimistic, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, and you say you like the classic template. Okay, so we're gonna go with the classic template, and I'm going when I start these. I mean, a lot of people. I mean, you guys, if you're just getting started, you should probably start with demo sample data. But I prefer, now that I know how to use the platform, and as you get used to it, you may prefer this as well, just to start with an empty template so that I can do exactly what I want, how I want to do it. So do you want your logo probably in the top of that, I would think? Kind
Yeah,
of try and keep this looking similar, right?
right.
Okay, so give me 1 second. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna pull the color from that background, and I'm gonna make the header um, the same color as the background that you have up here. Then I'm gonna make the menu icon color white, and I'm gonna click save. Actually, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna upload a logo. I downloaded the. I thought I downloaded the logo. Oh, I wonder if I can do that. Yes, I can. Excellent. Skip resizing and click save. Then I'm going to say this in the hero. Now there's one catch to the hero here that you may or may not like, which is that you can't put a line break exactly where you want it. So it's just going to be, it's one line of text. If you don't like, so here, let me just show you that. If you
Okay,
don't
yeah. So
like that,
ideally, I would put building on the bottom line and the second line, right?
yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Okay.
So in order to do that, because you can't actually, I'm pretty sure this does not take HTML. Yeah. In order to do that, we'd have to do that as we'd have to convert this text to an image. Now we could do something. This is going to be not how I would do it normally, but let's give this a try. Logo. We do that as a height. Look at us. Header height. Logo height. Header height. Logo height. There. Something like that. So that's close to what you have here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the only reason I normally wouldn't do it the way I just did, like I did this as a screenshot. If you get me a logo, like if you get me an image that is your logo plus this text on a transparent background, that'll be a safer way to do this, even though you
Okay.
probably won't notice the difference. But the big difference right now is that logo is a screenshot, so the background is blue. Now, fortunately, on my screen, you can't see that, right? Like you can't see that the image is here because I've set the background color to be the same color as the image itself. On some screens, it may look different, but it may be fine. But I would say best practices would be to turn this the text into its own transparent image.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let's see. So from here, I'm going to pick up the gray color that you have in here as a header. What other questions do we ask you? I forget what what all the questions are.
Well, most of the questions are pretty simple, and then there's a whole bunch of images that you're looking for. You know, because I have, obviously there's my company logo. I do not have an event logo, never even thought about it. Dashboard background image,
Yeah, you're
dashboard
probably not going
header
to.
image,
Yeah.
login page background image.
I think for you, it's really what's most important is this color. So I actually think we can, like, we'll go to the background in a second. Did we ask you for any other copy?
Yeah, so you're asking for speaker name, bio, and then
Okay.
a headshot,
And
which is an
is that essentially this right here?
sure.
Okay. Where was I? Did I? No, I didn't grab that yet. I thought I lifted the gray, but apparently I didn't. There we go. And are you calling it a challenge?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to. Your style is for your buttons is just a tiny little bit of a border, and it's pretty wide. So I'm going to do something similar here. I'm going to go down to your border width or border radius and just make it 5. And there we go. And then we're going to add an icon for video that is essentially very similar to the Zoom logo. And click save. Also going to go over here to Zoom areas and create a main stage Zoom area, which what that's going to do is that's going to give us a Zoom room that you can use for this event. And then on the design for the Enter Zoom, I'm going to point it to that area. I'm going to remove the text that we put in for the hero. I'm going to add a countdown timer. Now, your countdown timer, is it counting down to December 2nd at 3 p.m. Eastern? The countdown that you have right here.
It's counting down to noon
or 12 p.m. Pacific. Yeah.
12 p.m. Pacific. Yeah.
Yep, on December 2nd. So I'm going to click in here. I'm going to add a countdown timer for you. Set it to, if I set it to 12 p.m. and then join the challenge. Let's use that same text for now. Join the challenge. Even though at this point, once they see this, they've already opted in. 11:21, 11:21, 42. Oh, look at that. All right, so that is the right time.
Nice that it matches.
It is nice, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so there we go.
But,
We've got
don't you love it when that happens?
I really do. Okay, so we've got the top part done. You've got your countdown timer, join the challenge, enter Zoom, your logo up top. Now, the next thing that we want to do is get this bottom part done. So your sidebar and perhaps like a welcome message of some sort. My gut is to, from a style perspective, to make this sidebar the same dark blue color as your header area. I think that personally, I think that'll look good. I'm going to put a small border radius on the exterior, but I'm not going to put any a border thickness, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. And then my text color in that, because that's a dark blue for the sidebar, I'm going to make the default text color for the sidebar white. So that's my sidebar. I'm going to click add a blog post and I'm going to say, welcome to the challenge. I'm going to say, put your welcome stuff here. And then add for you some text. Just so that you can see where to make your updates. So you've got a little bit of a post there. I'm going to add to the side. Are you going to have any downloads for your event?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to add a resources section to the sidebar. In the sidebar settings, I'm going to remove the separator because I hate it. Don't ask me why we still have it. And then I'm also going to add an agenda. And I'm going to put the agenda above, although you can change that. And let's see. It's a 5-day challenge and December 6th. So it's 12 to 1 p.m. each day.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put add an agenda item, and I'm going to say day 1. And then I'm going to go and put December, was it 2nd to the 6th?
Yep.
Cool. All right. So there's the first one, and make my end time 1 p.m. and click OK. And then add another one. Call this day 2, December 3rd, 12, and have that also end at 1 p.m. And then another one, day 3, December 4th, 12, ending at 1 p.m. And day 3, no, 4, December 5th at noon, ending at 1 p.m. And day 5. And this one is, of course, December 6th. Oops. Ending at 1 p.m. Okay, so there's your 5-day agenda. For me, it's showing in Eastern time because my computer's in Eastern time. So we have a little note for you here. You can go into this little header area by highlighting the agenda. Clicking that, you can change this and put challenge agenda if you want. Below are the start and end times for each of the 5 days for our challenge. Then I'm going to make the header bold and the agenda is on our time zone, not or in your time zone, not ours, italicized. It looks something like that. You don't have to do it exactly like that. You can pop in there and just make those changes, make any changes you want. And then I'm going to say resources, downloadable resources. Check here for all downloadable resources and worksheets throughout the challenge. And then I'm going to add one and just call it
Workbook.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to call it sample because I don't have your workbook file.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, I'll call it workbook for you. Why not? Workbook, and then I'm going to attach an image. You don't like that spelling? We don't guarantee spelling.
If you're not that picky, I'm not going to worry about it.
Listen, we don't guarantee spelling around here, just so we're on the same page. Okay, so now you've got a downloadable workbook for you. Once you have that file, you hover over it, you click the gear, you click remove file, and then you upload a new file to this same thing and click save.
Okay.
All right, because obviously right now that is not the workbook. That's just the logo image that I've.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so that's that. Let's take a quick look at that when it's in preview mode. In an ideal world, you probably have a little more text here, right? Just to balance out the sidebar.
Well, and then could you do text and a video there?
Yeah, of course. Okay. Yeah, in fact, why don't we go to YouTube and just grab. Apparently, I've been looking into self-defense guns.
Yes, you look like you've been talking to my brother-in-law.
Yeah, it's a long story. Canadians shouldn't own firearms, just so we're on the same page. Here, let's put this video in there.
I think that Blue likes to just keep me guessing as to where he sits politically. He just throws things in every now and again that's just like, and I just can't work it out. But that's a nice one.
Okay, so I'm going to put a video in the middle of this paragraph. You can, of course, put it anywhere you want.
Yeah.
But just so you have a sense of what it looks like. And yeah, that would work nicely. I'm going to put a new button. I'm going to actually duplicate this button. Are you making an offer during your event of some sort?
Yes. Yes.
And do you have the sales page or whatever that is for? What are you selling at your event?
It's a mastermind and it's not done.
Okay.
That's
So I'm
it's
just going to
so
put
I'm
join.
trying to work through the TBE and 5 day challenge kind of at the same time. And so yesterday we did content. So I'm kind of because I want to be able to merge the content from the 5 day challenge into my 3 day event.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to play with. So yesterday we did the content, and so now we're about to figure out, how all those parts work.
Perfect. So for now, I'm just going to put a join the mastermind button here for you. You
Okay.
can click on the gear, change the text. It's currently linked to Google. When you create your sales page, you're going to want to drop it in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if you want
Mm-hmm.
to make it a different icon, you can do that. But for now, at least you have a placeholder for you is there. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. So next up, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to recommend that we turn off all of the check-in steps for this event. Because it's a challenge, I assume it's a free challenge. Is that correct, John?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So because it's a free challenge, we want to have as little friction as possible to get your attendees into the event. Okay.
Right.
So for me, passwords, waivers, tech check, that's all friction and it works great for a bigger 3 day event. But when we're talking about like a free 1 day challenge, you want as little friction as possible to get your attendees in. In that vein, I'm going to go to the settings page and I'm going to turn on allow email only login and click save.
And that means if they just put their email in, they can log. They don't have the camera, or is that what
Well,
you're?
it means in order to if they land on the login page for some reason, um, and hopefully they won't because you will hopefully be sending them their magic links.
I
But if
don't
they
know how to do that yet, but okay.
well, one thing at a time here, John.
Yeah,
One thing at a
I
time.
understand. One step at a time.
Um, and right now, what I'm doing is I'm just updating your login page to look a little bit more like your event. I think, hopefully, there we go. Wow, that's something. Background image disabled. Wow, that's interesting. What's going on there? Okay, so I'm going to type in that. And then on this particular page, we're going to use your yellow because it is a, there we go.
I
What did I do?
appreciate that you've got sharing audio on so that we can hear the slurps each time.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Could just be that my mic is that good. I doubt it though. All right, so email field. Let's change the label color to that. Border color to that. Border width to 1. Border radius to 0. And then go into the login to the challenge and change the color to yellow.
If you are interested, people, the little color picker tool that Blue's using is called Color Slurp on a Mac, and it's one of the tools that when I was watching Blue one time, I was like, "What is that?" The other one was the other one was the clipboard history, which was game changing because I kind of pride myself on knowing all the little tricks there are. But then he went up and used this clipboard history. It was like, oh, he went back 3 things that he'd copied and then was able to paste a bunch of things all at once. And I had never seen anything like it on a Mac. I was like, what is this sorcery that he just did with with the clipboard? And
That's
and I
funny.
haven't looked back. Have you still got that? Have you got that on this
Oh,
machine?
oh, I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
it lives. And I, you know what? I've tried new ones, but I still go back to that one all the time. I absolutely love it. Okay, so that's our login page pretty much done. We've got our dashboard prepped and ready to go. I'm actually gonna go down to the footer here. Do you have Do you have a terms and conditions? You do, but you don't have a link to it, so you don't actually have terms and conditions. Okay, not worried about that. I am just going to put your footer in the copyright text area, change the background color of this to be the blue. White is text. Now that is down there. Okay, and then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go into features and speakers, because you said something about you as a speaker. So I'm going to grab I think this image right here, and I am going to add that as a speaker bio, and then you can edit this as needed.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to at least put it in there for you. Uh, and I think that was bolded. And strategically scale was also bolded. And overwhelming burden, lack of clarity, inability. Okay. Overwhelming burden, lack of clarity, and inability. Let's see, anything else in there that I missed? Oh, inability to scale, streamline operations. Let's add that. Streamline operations was bolded. And clarity and fast track. Okay. All right. And then we're going to add the image in here. And I am going to crop it like that. Click done. And click save. Oops. Okay. And I'm actually just going to do it like that. There we go. All right. So there is your speaker page. Although I think, where is that? Hey, do you remember? Oh, image width. There we go. There we go. A little bit bigger. Perfect. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to go through and I'm going to turn off sponsors, FAQs, Zoom backgrounds. I'm going to turn off image entries. Again, some of this stuff you may decide to use, but it's easier just to turn it off now. And then if you need it, we can turn stuff like this back on. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add an attendee. I call him me. And click save. And then I'm going to go in and click on this little login to attendees dashboard button, which is going to open up the dashboard that we just created so I can see it outside of the Obvio interface. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
This allows me to really see it how an attendee will see it rather than how I see it. For now, meet your host is here. We're going to change that in a second. So the piece that I think we're missing on this is we need somewhere on here a button to get to meet your host. And we could put it up at the top, but I think I would, if I was you, I would probably put it in the sidebar up at the top as a button right here. But because most people probably won't find it by clicking on this menu button, right? Because that's the only way to get to that from this page right now. So I'm going to go and go to Design, Dashboard, go all the way to the bottom, click Add Item, select Sidebar Buttons, and I'm going to move these buttons above the agenda and click New Button. Now, the button that I'm going to type in here is Meet Your Host. And then I'm going to link that to the speaker page. Then I'm going to adjust the styling and make it, I think I'm going to try this as the yellow color that you use first and see how that looks. Not 1000% on that, but oops. But let's see how it looks. And then add a small border radius to be consistent with your other buttons of 5 and click Save. I think that's decent, but I'm going to change the font size to be more like that. Okay, there we go. All right, what do you think?
I like it. I mean, I tried to follow all of that, but I didn't. So I mean,
that's okay. It's recorded. That's the cool thing is it's recorded.
Yeah, and it's obviously a long ways ahead of where it was when I started, when you started.
Well, when I started, there was nothing, so it's like exponentially farther than where it was.
Yeah, I was a master of understatement there.
Is there anything?
Wait, why is that button black?
It just hasn't updated yet. That's the color that it is when it first loaded. So that if we give it another, I don't know, 30 seconds or so, it'll probably be correct.
Okay.
Is there anything else that I don't remember all the things that we ask you in that form. Is there anything that we ask you in that form that it seems as though I haven't done?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I took notes here as I walked through that form to just try to remind me what I needed to take care of. But you've got the welcome message done. We've got the logo done. Is there a dashboard background image or a login page background image?
Given what you have going on your page, there's no real need for a dashboard background image because that would be something that would go behind
right. I don't use it here.
in the white space here, and I don't think that fits. So the dashboard background image is more important if we're using a different template. But given your website, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah. Again, I'm not really using background images. And then you did speaker name, bio, headshot. You took care of all that. So I just have one note to get the logo and text on a transparent background for the top.
Yep. And all you have to do that and you'll see it turn to yellow now.
Yeah.
All you need to do to fix that, John, is come into the editor, hover over the header area, click on the gear right here. And then remove the logo and upload the logo that you'll have that has just the logo and text.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's probably me being nitpicky. It probably doesn't matter, but I would do it if I was you.
Oh, I don't know that anybody's going to be concerned. Okay, so I
don't think they will. Right? I mean, again, it's one of those things that I don't think in the end really matters. So if you choose not to do it, don't worry about it. Like if you can't see it and I can't see it, nobody else can see where the border is inside of this background, then I think you're probably safe.
I think it's fine. Again, it's going to go into the low priority category because I got 1,000 other things I got to take care of.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So now that this is done, I mean, how do I use it? Do I send them a magic link?
Yeah. So what is the opt-in? What is this opt-in connected to? Is this a ClickFunnels page?
Uh, um, go high level.
Go high level. Okay. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to connect your event. Are you tagging your attendees with a specific tag inside of Go High Level?
Yes.
Okay. So in an ideal world, what happens is you go into services and you link it to your high level account.
Okay.
And what'll wind up happening is Obvio will provide you with a tag that you have to apply to all your attendees in Go High Level.
Okay.
Do you want to do you want to do you want to connect high level to your event right now?
Um, maybe. I don't know if I can because it's actually not my system. It's the team that's helping me with the 5-day challenge. So I don't know if I need any special passwords or something, it's not gonna, I don't have it.
It's not a special password. You just need your login to Go High Level. Do you have that?
I do.
That should be good. That should be enough.
All right, let's try it.
So go ahead and let's share your screen. All right, so let's start by going into the into Obvio.
Uh,
Go to like the actual Obvio where you would edit the event. Just click
okay.
back to Obvio. Yep,
Oh, hey, this
and
just showed up again. Oh, this is the one we just did. That's right.
that's the one we just did exactly. All right, so
I had
now
a
go
test
to
org there that went away. Just
oh,
just FYI, I had a test org there that I was doing all my work in, and it disappeared.
the test organization disappeared.
Yeah.
Click the Obvio logo, top left-hand corner.
Oh, see, there's John's test organization.
All right, good. Just making sure it didn't disappear. All right, go into John Witt's organization. That's the one we're going. That's where I built
Oh,
um,
fair enough.
the event. I can
Okay, and
put
then
it
we're
into
in
the
here.
test organization, but
No,
I
no, no,
think
no,
for
no.
now.
This is fine.
Okay,
And then
so
here.
yeah, click there, and then click on attendees on the left-hand side,
Uh-huh.
and then click on services,
Uh-huh.
and now click on high level,
Okay.
and click authorize, and click login. Click allow. Go ahead and get yourself signed in.
Sent an email, right? It is right there.
Looks like that is what it's doing. Yep.
One of my banes is that, everybody has their own different two-factor identification.
Tell me about it.
I wish they
Security
would
is
just
the
stand it. It'd
opposite
be
of
nice if they just
convenience, right?
they
Convenience
just
and
standardize.
security don't live on the same street, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right. So you see up there it says import tag and it says Obvio fast track 11 2024.
Yeah.
So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to copy that tag and ask your tech team to apply that tag to everybody who registers for the event.
Okay.
Okay, that's step number one. Step number two, where it says login field, go ahead and click create new field. On the far right-hand side, it says create new field.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
And then here, type in fast track challenge Obvio URL. And click create. That's fine, yeah. All right, now where it says attendee checked in, click on create new tag and type in fast track challenge. And then dash checked in, like space dash checked in. Yep. And click create. All right, now go down to the bottom and click save. All right, now go up to the top and you see the little sync toggle, top right-hand corner, toggle that on. So now to make sure that this is working, let's go into your high level account. Just open up a new tab and log into your high level account.
Why am I not seeing what I want to see here? Oh, I know why. The my
All right, so go to your contacts. And do you have a contact record inside of your account?
me personally,
Yep.
I don't think so.
Okay. Why don't we create one just for giggles? So go, I think, all the way to the top, or yeah, plus. There we go. Perfect. Add contact.
All right, stop that.
Okay, now scroll down. Don't worry about the phone number. Don't worry about that for now. Scroll down and click save.
Am I in here already? It says it looks like I'm already in here.
Okay, so click close. All right,
But
where it says quick search, just type in your email address, top right. You're probably just on the second page, is why we didn't see it. Sorry, a little bit down into that's your bookmarks. Yeah, there we go.
Right here?
Yep, just type in your name.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so click on that. And scroll down on the left-hand side there in that, yeah. Keep going. Nope. Yep. Keep going down. Keep going down. All right, you see tags where it says add tags. Click on that. And you remember the tag that we copied? You actually copied a tag. The Obvio dash fast track dash.
I kind of remember that.
Did you copy it? Where did you write that down? All right, do me a favor. The
I got
tab.
it. It's right there.
Oh,
It's
look
right
at
there.
you. Boom. All right, click on that.
I had
Click on
saved
the right there. Yeah, nice. Okay. Is there a save? I don't think there's a save option, or is there? All the way down at the bottom, all the way up at the top? I don't think there is. I think this auto saves.
Auto saves. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what we now want to do in the next couple of minutes or so, if we go back to Obvio.
I've got. Oh, okay.
Okay, and you go to attendees. So right now, high level and Obvio only sync every 10 minutes. Okay, and it's 10 minutes on the on the clock, right? So it's at 0, at 10, at 20, at 30, at blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
So in the next couple minutes or so, once it hits 550 or 250, the system will check in with high level to see if there's anybody who has that tag. It'll recognize that you have the tag. Then it'll import your contact record into Obvio, and it'll write your login URL from Obvio back to high level.
Okay.
So your contact record inside of high level will now have your login URL in that fast track challenge Obvio URL field that we created. Okay, so if you scroll down and stop right there, you see it says fast track challenge Obvio URL.
So right there, it's going to have the.
It's going to add the URL for you, your personal login URL. So what your tech team is going to want to do is they're going to want to email your attendees and merge that field into the email that you send to your attendees. The same way they would merge a first name or a last name.
Right.
They merge that contact field into the emails that you send out, and now you'll be sending your attendees their individual magic link to the dashboard.
Okay. So what I need to do is right now I don't have any way to automatically add that Obvio URL tag.
Well, you don't, but somebody for sure does. Right? Maybe it's your tech team who's connected that opt-in page to high level. Whoever has done that, there is 100% a way to apply that tag automatically on sign up.
Okay. Yeah, there is. You're right. Okay. Because
So
what I have now is I just have December 2024 challenge. That's the tag. But I could replace that with this.
You can leave that tag in place, John.
Yeah.
And also add the Obvio fast track 11, 20, 24 tag.
They'll just have two tags. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Yep. And there's no downside to that. Like it's not gonna clutter things up or anything along those lines.
Okay.
All right.
Wow. Did a lot of work in a short period of time. Well, I hope everybody else enjoyed this. I mean, I benefited tremendously, so I really appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, you're welcome. We would have had to do the work anyway, so happy to have done it. And any questions that you have along the way, let us know. Don't submit that form for completion. It's now done.
No, it's now done, so I won't.
Perfect.
And I will ask questions as I go along. I have lots of questions, but it's baby steps.
All right. Well, let's go to Heather and answer some questions, and then John, if you have questions as you're sitting there thinking about it, if you have follow-up questions, drop them onto the dashboard or raise your digital hand, and I'll come back to you at the end.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, Heather. Did that give us enough time to get some questions?
Sure. So we have one from Jeff. He wants to know if there might be a search feature or a folder option available for organizations in the future to more easily find events.
It's interesting. So the ability to, do you mean the ability to search your organizations for an event, Jeff?
Exactly. Yeah, we have those lists are getting pretty long.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to grab something and it's just hard to get back.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Listen, I live and breathe that every single day because my account has a lot in it. It's not something that we have thought of, to be fair, but it's an interesting idea. So I'm happy to add that to our wish list.
We have spoken about it before, but we were like, we use the find function in the browser, a lot. And
I think what he's talking about though is
filters and things would be nice.
On the organization page, if he's on the organization page and he's looking for a specific event, the find function isn't going to do that for him because he doesn't know what organization it's in. So I think what he's looking for is a universal search essentially.
I see.
that searches org names and event names and then comes up with results. Which is a little
that would be helpful.
That's what you mean, right? Did I understand that right, Jeff?
Correct. Yeah, I have some admin helping me pulling recordings, editing, creating dashboards, pulling attendee data, and we're just finding there's a ton of friction because of the amount of events that are in our account of trying to find the right thing.
So, I mean, in the meantime, this is probably a thanks, Captain Obvious kind of moment. But when we're passing information back and forth amongst the team, I drop a URL in, right? And it doesn't really matter what page that you're on the event. Like, yeah, I don't have to go to the home settings page to grab the correct URL. Any URL that is within that event, as long as they have full access, like as long as they have admin access, would at least tell them what event you're talking about. So that's what I do internally when I, if I send one of the developers something, or if I send Heather something, or if I send one of the Sage team members something about an event, rather than even say this is the organization and this is the name of the event, I just oftentimes will just copy a URL, which may provide you with a temporary solution as we think through what a universal search could potentially look like.
Yeah, we share URLs quite a bit, but the challenge we're having, like sometimes it'll be talked about in meetings, right? So when we do a URL on the meeting agenda, but sometimes it's just stuff that's coming up on the fly, or I'm traveling, as you do, and you're on a call and you're like, oh yeah, the settings that I want for the new event you're working on come from this previous event. So it's on the fly, and then they're like, okay, well, I can't find it.
Yeah. Like I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I could see that being annoying.
Just
it's interesting.
Just a organization feature.
It's a good problem to have, Jeff, that you've got so many events in multiple organizations. It's good.
Well, and we're working with, schools a lot, right? So if I do 4 different school assemblies a day with 4 different organizations, that's 4 events in that single day.
Amazing.
They're getting created. And then there's meetings on top of that. So for us to have a day where there's like 6 events isn't unheard of.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah. We love Obvio. Now it's just figuring out how to organize it all.
Yeah.
I'm just curiosity. Are you running events for multiple organizations?
Yeah.
That's the only, I can't imagine trying to run more than one, but
yeah, we have 2 organizations ourselves. And so one of the things that's confusing is one is my personal brand, but I also speak on a stage for another brand quite often. So that's where some of the hang up is for the team of, oh, was that under his personal brand or was he speaking on behalf of the organization that day?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Too much information, but that's what's going on behind the scenes.
All right. Next up.
Blue, that's why I made that on stage. Our on stage link. But so that's what I use all the time. But maybe we need something like
I use
that.
the support app. It gives us that stuff all the time pretty easily. But clearly they don't have access to that.
Nope. Yeah.
So our next question was also from Jeff. He wants to know if there was any chance of getting a Stream Deck integration in the future, for area and room controls, and form moderation, etc.
I was just curious if you guys had ever talked about that. If it's ever come up.
No. What sort of things would you want to do?
Yeah. So again, this is maybe I don't think it's a fringe use case. The challenge I had today, I was in 5 different meetings, and those were all different Obvio events. And so as soon as I get off of one call, of course, don't have much of a transition time, and so I'm wanting to open the area and open the room for the next call. But my thought was too, like people that are producing events, like it might be really nice to be able to have a Stream Deck button to be able to open and close an area or open and close a room. Just trying to think of what are some ways versus typing it in the browser or using a tab, and then there's my problem of finding the event first of all, right? And then going in and then having to click Zoom areas and then open the area, open the room. I was like, I wonder if this like a Stream Deck button could handle that. I don't know what the lift is on the back end to actually make that happen, but I was just thinking of even pulling up forms, moderation, next question, or moving something to queue, queuing a question or something like. Seems like there's a few different things in Obvio that require several clicks, excuse me, where a button might really move that along a little faster.
Yeah, that's cool. So the reality is that it really could be done now with some sort of complex API calls, because
Uh-huh.
there is things there, and so that's, I think it is a bit of a fringe case, or for more geeks among us who
Yeah.
are doing like some companion. So in companion, you can actually do some API calls,
Mhm.
and you could set up some variables and things for room IDs and things like that. So off the top of my head, I think it is possible. I'm just not sure, Blue. Are we do we limit kind of API access to enterprise accounts? Maybe.
You're muted, Blue.
Sorry, first day with Zoom. So yes, enterprise in theory is, or the API is in theory limited to enterprise.
Yeah.
I think in practice it currently actually isn't, but it is intended to be. So I wouldn't, if you're not an enterprise user and you happen to have figured out the API, I wouldn't get used to it. So that's number one. Number two, some of the endpoints that Grant's talking about aren't necessarily part of the endpoints that are intended to be public.
Yeah.
Is this something you guys could see yourself using in production? I mean, obviously you have access to enterprise, you've built the thing, but I'm just wondering, like
Yeah.
with your teams and with the events that you guys run, you both run a lot of events with your organizations.
So I'm shaking my head no, and I'll tell you the reason why. I think that the dynamic nature of what you're trying to do would create a overbearing amount of things to have to update in companion or whatever you're using to update it, right? Like when you go from one event to another, you'd have to go and change all the buttons and change the room IDs and do all that stuff. And for me, I'd rather just have a computer with Obvio open and I'm good. It's not something that I have. Did she just growl at you? Rosie. Hey, puppy. Sorry, my like 14-pound dog is growling at a grown man.
Did he take her toy?
No, you know what? She doesn't like the sound of garbage bags. And it's he's part of the janitorial team who comes into the office building and swaps that stuff out. So around this time of day, she goes nuts. And like the reality is, if I take out a garbage bag at home, she barks at me. So like it really is. It's not like well, no, it's actually, something that's funny. The gentleman who is the person who I see most days, his name is Blue.
Ha.
So it's a fun experience for me. And I think, maybe that confuses, I've always thought maybe that confuses Rosie as well. Anyway, to answer your question, I'd have to see how it was being used, Jeff. But I think going from event to event, it's almost like, especially using it, if I had to do it manually, I think it would be too much for me to, all right, let's create a new companion page for the new event. Like it'll take
Yeah.
3 hours and it's going to save me 10 seconds. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
Blue,
Yeah, my
this is
use
Martin.
case is there's
Hey, Martin.
Is there any compromise that you could do by making the APIs public facing? So you're not really doing the thing Jeff asked. Jeff then does what he asks, because Jeff, my compromise for you is to use something like Make and create a scripting process that is tied to your Stream Deck button. So if you use a webhook to launch literally a make process, which is a sequence of things that you need to do, and that calls the APIs, you've just done exactly what you needed to do. Or any kind of automation tool that can call APIs, call it Make. If you want to do Zapier, all you need is a webhook entry into that. But the key is you need the APIs into Obvio to make that real.
Right.
And so if you could make air quotes, Blue, maybe the ask is these air quotes private APIs more public-ish, such as like the API to start a room. If you made that part of your enterprise API and maybe to start a form or something like that, is that a horrible ask?
I'm honestly not opposed to that. I think, one of the things that we have, or that I have in the back of my head that has not been front of mind, but is definitely something that we have been thinking about, is what elements to make public for the API, right? And how to, which things are, which things are dangerous to be done off platform, and which things are, that's kind of innocuous, right? So like a toggle for an area or a toggle for a room, those are API endpoints that I could see being like, that doesn't matter if that happens on platform or not. So I'd be open to opening that up. I think the part of it that is a little bit harder is our API implementation to have a true backend or true private API and public API is not implemented, right? So
okay.
That's the intention. It's part of what we talk about externally, right? When somebody says, "Hey, I'd like API access," it's first, okay, do you have your enterprise account? And if you do, okay, here's how you get access to the API. But as Grant often says, it's really more security through obscurity rather than actual security. So I think we have to go through that process before we open that up. But, once we do open that up, then that does open the door, Jeff, for you to potentially be able to do some of the stuff you're thinking about.
Yeah, to succinctly describe the use case, I have 5 different meetings. So, well, really a webinar that I do often, and then 4 different meetings. That's what I toggle through every day that I'm in studio, those 5 different things. And so I wouldn't set up a companion page for the same reason for a 3-day event. Like why take 3 hours for something I can just have somebody do as part of their job? But those meetings, I don't typically have tech team for that other than webinar. If we get a bunch of signups, then I'll bring in some staff. But, the meetings, it's just me toggling through all day.
Yeah, what I'll say to you is somebody with enough knowledge could probably hack the API and do the thing you're trying to do. I'll just say it that way. How about that?
Fair enough.
Well,
I'm nerdy to know that it might be possible, but not to actually do it.
It's important to note here that while there is some obscurity, there is some very industry standard authorization processes that go on. So what's obscure is the endpoint names and things like that. But the authorization tokens are highly secure. And so you can't just hit an address and it will open and close a room. It has to be authenticated with a token, a long token. But
I assumed he would have figured that out. I was just kind of letting him figure that part of it out, Grant. But I mean, hey, listen. If we're gonna leave the door unlocked, we might as well tell him where the door is, right? Is that what you're saying?
I think it's like it's obscure and you don't know where the door is, and it's actually locked really well. But if you bring the key with you, then you'll be all right. Then you need to know where to go.
Yeah, and you may
The
have to go one step further, you may have the key. You may use the key on a regular
I
basis.
may.
You just didn't know the key was with you
Yeah.
the whole time.
Well,
Funny
The
thing is,
thing
I
is,
know where Blue's house is and his office and studio. So, I mean, I've got those doors at the very least. Grant, you're on a different continent. It's too
that's
much
true.
work, and there's a
Yeah,
lot of things that want to kill me there.
that's the Australia is obscure. Yeah, I would say that.
Yes.
Um, the thing that you find us always talking about, and I think it is a strength of Obvio, is that we're using it all the time, right? So when you're talking about your use case, we're thinking about,
Mhm.
oh yeah, I can totally understand that because we're running events and doing that sort of stuff too. And so then we think about best practice. And I think that would be my challenge back to you is that sometimes we can automate things so much that it opens up a possibility for human error. Here I've got a whole bunch of buttons and I accidentally press the wrong one, or you know what that's like with companion
Yep.
and things in general, right? You can get to this point where you've got too many buttons and you have to think too much about what you're doing. So actually sometimes making steps where it's a 3-step process to do the intention can be helpful. And that's not me trying to justify the fact that you've got to click 5 times to do something. I just think that making it one button right in front of you might be a little bit too easy, and you could open yourself up to, you close a room accidentally, and you got a whole bunch of people, like it's easy to do.
Hmm.
You fumble and
Yeah.
you have a brain fart and you press the wrong button and suddenly you just close something and kicked a bunch of people out of a room, But so yeah, I'm certainly not saying it's a bad idea. I get it. And I think about automation all the time. I saw something recently a guy said. He said that he's a production guy. And he said he never automates anything that he couldn't manually do himself through the processes.
Hmm.
Now, I'm not sure I 100% agree, but I like the sentiment. And that is that he's saying that if his automation broke as a solo operator, he could achieve all the things that you would need to by stepping through that. And I thought that's an interesting approach. Anyway, I thought you'd appreciate thinking on that too. It's like
Yeah.
you can over automate things, and you get caught. But I know you're not automating; you're just trying to get quicker access to things, and that makes sense. So,
Yeah, I have
you
Stream
keep
Deck
thinking on it.
buttons too. This is just for anyone that uses this. Like I can restart my ATEM switcher from my desk here. However, in order to do so, it's in a folder. So it requires 2 button presses. Same thing with the studio lights. I can restart, turn on and off the studio lights. I can power cycle some equipment. It always requires 2 presses because if you bump it, you're in trouble. Now your switcher turned off. But
That
there's certain times where you have to reset it. And so then, having that option is here. Then I can also switch to another workflow. There's a different way to run my cameras that goes through a different set of equipment so that I'm still live on the call while I'm rebooting some equipment. So yeah,
that's cool.
redundancy and safeties are always a good idea.
So
They put them on
and it's
weapons for a reason
yeah, that's
because things could go really wrong.
a cover over
Same
the
thing.
missile launch button. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's literally that kind of a thing. Yeah, but it's just with the Stream Deck button. It's in a folder, so it requires 2 presses.
Nice. Nice. I'll
Hey
keep
guys,
thinking about it.
can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah. It sounds like I don't know if you guys are familiar with the program called Auto Hotkey, but it's a very simple program, and you can put it on any computer, and anything that you do that's just a repetitive task, like clicking 16 buttons to get someplace, or you have to enter a password or something, like you can just totally program that. I use it for a bunch of things that like it might take me 3 minutes to do manually, but it can do it in 15 seconds just because I'm clicking a button. It does turn into a rabbit hole because now all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I can automate anything. And then you just start to automate too much. But it sounds to me like it would work for Jeff's use case. And wouldn't require any kind of API or anything because he's just clicking buttons to get to a different workspace. So I would look into AutoHotkey if I was you.
Yeah,
Thanks
and
for that tip.
the trick is the different events and different rooms, you know, IDs for
Yeah,
each
that's my
time,
only
right?
concern.
It's not the same thing. Yeah. So anyway, it's a good one. I'll keep thinking about it.
All right, Heather, enough geekery. Next question.
Yeah. So Jeffrey wants to know how to get his Stripe working with Marketplace for his dashboard.
Now, I know I have asked you this before, so I give you my apologies, but you know, if you could kind of give me that again, because I actually want to make it happen now.
Yeah. So do you just mean how do I connect Stripe to Obvio?
Well, I'm sure that I have to go on like Stripe's website and actually set up my account with them, which I haven't done yet, right? So that's correct. Yes, I have to go to Stripe first to actually create something.
Yeah, I mean, you can actually, well, when you can start on Obvio and then when you click on the button to connect Stripe, if you don't have a Stripe account, Stripe will walk you through the process of setting up a Stripe account.
Okay, great,
So,
good.
yeah, so it doesn't have to be Stripe first, but if that kind of helps answer the question.
Right. Okay. So then I'll do that. I'll click on that. So then have to follow the prompts.
Exactly. So what you do is you go to you log into your organization in Obvio, and you go to your organization settings.
Yes.
And then once you have done that, you're going to see a button that says like connect to Stripe or something like that, I believe, or Stripe Connect, Connect Stripe or Stripe Connect. It's one of those two. And you click on that, and that'll walk you through the process of connecting Stripe. Now, once that's done, then you have the ability to go into the marketplace area of Obvio, create a new ticket, build a purchase page, and build a thank you page.
Okay. In Marketplace, I build a purchase page. It is. Yes.
Yeah, like a sales page. Yep.
Okay. And then also you say
a thank you page. Yeah, a page that they'll land on once the page is done. Now, Jeffrey, what I would do if I was you is go into the Leap Members Hub and go to the most recent Tech Lab. So you go to Mastery Days and then you go to Tech Lab.
Okay. Yeah.
And the most recent Tech Lab, we did a full day on Marketplace.
Oh, okay.
So if you watch that and kind of follow along, that'll speed up the process for you, giving you everything that you need.
That's awesome. Great, great. I will do that.
Okay.
Now
Sweet.
I did miss one of the labs for our recent group. Was that the tech lab that I missed, or was that from a previous sort of round of this?
Tech lab. The tech lab that I'm recommending you go to took place in July of 2024. So July 23rd. So it's not like really, really recent. It's a few ago. And I posted a direct link to that in the chat for you.
Oh, that's great. Thanks. All right. I do have another question, which is this is maybe not necessarily an Obvio question, but it's an important question for me. Is looking to find a VA that would create like a sales page. I'm a little bit like frustrated with the mastermind business system, and so I need some help on that. I'm doing reasonably well. I feel making progress with Obvio, but that seems to kind of throw me off on there. So if you can recommend, I hear there's like companies that you might pay a fee for, and then they, obviously they're going to offshore it, but that they're good and reasonable in cost to build those things. So if you know anything like that, I'm all ears.
I don't. Yeah, I really don't. I would probably start by posting a note in the Leap group and see if the greater group knows of somebody, just like, this is what I'm looking for. Does anybody know who can help? I'm sure there are a couple of people in the group who could potentially support you. And then you may have some other folks in the group who have some ideas and share those with you. But in fairness, I don't.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
And also want to just take the opportunity to say it was a great call yesterday with you and Barry. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, Barry just walked by my office. I'll make sure she knows that. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
I'm good. Oh, and so just the color slip. That's something on Mac. You say it's not in.
Yeah, Color Slurp is a Mac tool. Yes. And basically what it allows you to do is any color you see on your screen, you click a button and you can like hover your mouse over that area of the screen, click a button, and it grabs the hex code of the color. And hex code is just a universal code for color. It's like PMS was for print. Hex codes are to the web.
Okay.
To the interwebs.
Right.
Yeah, and it's what Obvio uses. It's what a lot of design systems use, web design and web builders use for color. So it works really nice.
You said that's on the Mac. Is that embedded in it, or is that an app that you have to get, or what?
Yeah, it's an app that you download and install.
Okay, Color Slurp. Okay.
Color Slurp. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super handy.
I'll tell you, obviously I'm on this learning curve, up to doing the 3-day virtual live event, and
Totally.
got some learning to do on that. The curve is kind of in front of me, and that's cool. But making good progress, I feel. And but in the meantime, I'm doing things a little bit in the old-fashioned way. Okay, but I'm it just occurred to me today to hybrid something. Like I have a potential client that would do a 6-week sprint coaching program with me, which would have a course built into it. And I thought, wow, hey, I could create a dashboard just for that person. And then I can put downloads for that person and make it exclusive to that person and stylize. I've already kind of created one to see what it looks like. And it was kind of cool. I mean, I've got a picture on there I found on the web. And so I could, that's just a thought I had. So any comments on that? And I know it's not the purpose, but hey, I just want to kind of practice here and whatever.
Well, I think what I would probably say is, first off, the great job on using the platform. I like the way you're thinking. The other thing that I would say is the cool thing about what you learn inside of Leap is 80 to 90% of it can apply to an analog world, right? So event strategy works in person and virtually. So that's cool. So if you're doing stuff the old-fashioned way, it can go all the way out old-fashioned to in-person meetings, right, rather than virtual. So yeah, I love what you're doing. That's awesome.
Well, great, thanks. I appreciate it, but I do have my sights on what you are all about. So that's what I bought into. But got to kind of take the step there. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, next up, Heather.
We don't have any that came through, but I did see that John put in the chat a little bit earlier that he had a question, possibly about Obi. I'm not sure if we'll address it on here, but
sure, I'm happy to if we've got nothing else.
Yeah, I know that Obi isn't the main focus here, so I put that as if there's time.
No, but that's fine. What's up?
Let me show you what I'm experiencing. It's just a weird little thing, right?
Yep.
So get to all right. So this is where we walked through yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so this is like early session details, but I was kind of testing it, kind of playing around with it, and I get weird behavior with my when I'm doing data entry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're
I
working
don't know,
on that.
and I don't know what to do with it. Just hold.
Yeah. So I'm aware of it. The
Okay.
team, I had a long conversation with the team this morning on this exact topic.
Okay.
What it's relating to, I mean, I can tell you technically what's going on, although I'm sure you probably don't really want to know. Um, but basically, what's happening is the system is auto saving every time you pause your typing, just for like a moment. Like if there's less than a second in between updates, it saves the content. And when it saves the content back to the server, it then returns the content back into the application, back into Obi, and refreshes the page. And so what winds up happening is you're typing, you pause for a second, that initiates the save, then you continue typing, but then it refreshes and the continue typing part disappears. So
Ah,
that's technically what's happening, and it's a result of a combination of either the computer or the internet or a combination of the two being too slow to accommodate that autosave feature, right? That's why we didn't catch it when we were doing our testing. So I actually have a fix for it that is being tested this afternoon, and hopefully it'll be deployed overnight, and you'll see you'll see hopefully that doesn't happen anymore.
okay. Well, I understand, you're I appreciate being a part of release 1.0, and I expect things like this.
Well, I'm glad you're okay with it. I'm less okay with it.
I've done software development before, and you can decide to be not okay with it, but I don't know if it's your choice.
No, I know it's not my choice. But that's essentially what the team was working on today. That was there were actually a couple of bugs that are all related to the PHG builder, um, including a weird time issue where sometime like there isn't a way to reset the start time of the day. So if one of the things that you'll find if you're playing with it, if you drag a session from like the second or third session to the top of another day, the entire day's time gets completely fucked up.
Oh.
I'm, I know I'm not supposed to swear on these calls, but that's essentially what happens. Right. So it resets the start time of the day to the start time of that session, which is like if I grab a session that originally started at 2:30 and I put it to the top and I put it to the top of a column, it resets that entire column to start at 2:30. So that's the other fix that's being made. Most people fortunately haven't discovered that because they're not changing the start time or the top row, right? The welcome session, the opening keynote, or the trifecta session. They're not changing those three items, so it wasn't caught yesterday, but it is a problem. So those are two things that are being modified, as is the ability to change the start time of each day and adding an end time to the visibility. So you can see not on the grid, not only see the start time, but also see the end time. So you don't have to do math in your brain, right? Like, oh, it started at noon plus 90 minutes. What time is that? Oh, 1:30, right? Like, I know it's a small thing, but I like having the end time there as well. So there are a few changes that hopefully will be online soon.
Well, and I appreciate it. So I didn't know that you had already caught that, so I thought I'd share that with you. And I think you can
Yeah,
use
no
the word
problem.
foobar anytime you want to.
Yeah. Well, there are moments of foobar. Fortunately, yesterday wasn't one of them. We don't have any other questions, do we, Heather?
No, but I can pull one out.
Yeah, do it. Pull one out.
Okay. So I was talking to Sean in chat a while ago, and he was trying to insert a YouTube video into a blog post, but for some reason the links are giving him the "this media URL is not supported" error. Does that have to do with his access in YouTube? I was able to make it
No, it
into
probably is it a YouTube live video?
it does say .live or /live.
Yeah. So there's some YouTube's live videos, their links are formed slightly differently, and we haven't accommodated for that. Do you have the link? Can you DM it to me?
I can.
Or just post it in the chat. That's fine. Because there is I think there is a way to get a non /live
And like I said, I was able to bypass it by doing like the HTML embedded one for it, but I just never had that come up before. So I thought
yeah,
you could
it
share
is
it.
it is because it's a live video. Like that's for sure the reason. And and now it's probably just a matter of
Better than any other.
getting the right. Here, hold on one second. Video equals this. I changed that. Does that work? Yeah. Okay. So here is a link that you can text him back, and that would work. So it's a link to the exact same video, but rather than it saying live, it says watch and then question mark and V equals video equals, and then it has the same part of the end of the URL. That should work because that's how YouTube links are generally formed, except for live. So that's the workaround, the temporary workaround. You can just reform the link, and it'll still point to the right video.
Awesome. Cool.
All right. Any other questions from anybody before we wrap for the day? No? All right. Well, that's cool. Thank you,
Thanks,
Martin.
everyone.
Appreciate
Thanks. Thanks, Lou.
Thanks for your help. Really appreciate it.
that. Yeah.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
You guys are most welcome. Thanks for being here today. And we will see you back here next Wednesday, 5 p.m. every week. In the meantime, if you're hosting an event and if you have questions, you can always reach out to us inside the application in the chat, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can also email us help@obv.io. And if it's after hours, if it's on weekends, I oftentimes recommend going to the Facebook group, which is just facebook.com/groups/Obvio APP, or the link is on the dashboard that got you into this meeting. And if you post your question there, oftentimes myself or Grant over the weekend pay attention to that, as do several other folks inside the Obvio community. So you're never very far away from support. You don't have to wait until next Wednesday if you need it before then. All right, everybody. Thanks. And we'll talk to you soon. Yes, Jeffrey, John.
The day before Thanksgiving, you're still going to be on, yes?
I may
Well, he's
not.
Canadian. I don't know. Do you celebrate Thanksgiving?
Oh, that's true.
You know, it's a great question. So
Look,
what's actually
we're not thankful for anything in Australia, so I'm I'm happy to keep doing it. But if you think it's not worth it, Blue, then
no,
I'll
I
celebrate your
think
thankfulness.
I think most people will be on for Wednesday. I know it's the day before Thanksgiving. Oddly enough, I'm celebrating Thanksgiving on Wednesday with Barry and her family, for a myriad of reasons. So we're giving thanks a day early, or in my case, a month late. So I probably won't be here next week, but Grant will be, and who
I
knows,
will
maybe
be.
Heather will be. Yeah. So the call. Thank you. The call will be happening, and who knows? Maybe I'll show up with a turkey leg and cocktail in hand, and just disrupt the entire call as I usually do.
Love it.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
Join the
everybody.
Henry VIII this? Wow.
Can I ask really quick? I can't get my screen to come up, but can you direct us to an overview of the strategy for using Obvio? It came up in our ACE pod meeting because it's a lot of work to learn it, and we're trying to understand when to prioritize it.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know that I do have a video that talks about the strategy of when to use it, Casey. But I can give you at a high level. This is what I would say.
Okay.
If you're trying to host a virtual event and Obvio is the piece that's standing in your way, don't use Obvio. I'd rather see you host a virtual event and get it done and just host it on Zoom, on your own Zoom account, than feel overwhelmed by having to build and design a dashboard. The reason we use Obvio is multifaceted, okay? But at a high level, for events that are paid, like TVE or other events, generally speaking, I only want people who have paid the event ticket to show up for the event. Now,
Okay.
Zoom isn't secure, right? Zoom meeting is inherently insecure. Obvio, however, makes Zoom secure because of how we work with Zoom. So that's one reason to use Obvio. Another reason to use Obvio is to differentiate your event from just another Zoom meeting, right? Because you give your attendees a central hub or website by which to access the information about the event and also access the event itself. So it feels a little bit more elevated when you attend an Obvio event versus, hey, here's the Zoom link, right? When somebody sends me a Zoom link, all I think about is I have yet another meeting that I have to attend. Whereas when I go into a website that then has a button and all of the information about the event and then has a button to get into Zoom, it just inherently feels different. So that's the other reason that we do it. So to answer your question, when should you use it? When those two things are important to you. But at the same time, I would rather you, especially those of you who are in Leap, host your first event rather than worry about Obvio. Like, we provide Obvio as an easy way to do the things that we do with our events, right? That's why you have access to it inside of Leap for the year that you're in Leap or for the duration that you're in Leap. But it's not an absolute requirement. I've told multiple people over the years, just get the event done. Just use Zoom and then get comfortable in the event, get comfortable with your offer, get comfortable delivering, right? And then the next event, use Obvio. If that's one of the overwhelming things for you. And that's, incidentally, that's not just true of Obvio. If you have other things that you're finding overwhelming that you could eliminate that are like nice, not necessary, eliminate them. Eliminate everything that's nice, not necessary in order to get the event done.
Blue, that is helpful because when we did our ACE pod meeting, every one of us was totally lost. And when you and Barry described the offerings as a smorgasbord that we could choose from, we realized we didn't know how to prioritize our choices.
Yeah. Yeah, Obvio is definitely one of those things that I think it's a great tool. We obviously use it for our own events. We use it for all of our client events. We have a lot of larger clients that use it. And then we see a lot of our just users using it on a regular basis. But I do also recognize that it's one more thing that you have to learn, because in addition to Obvio, you also have to learn to build a sales page. You You have to learn how to send emails to your list. You need to learn how to build a list, right? There's other stuff you need to do as well. Those things are necessary. Obvio is a nice elevated wrapper, right? It's the difference between hosting an in-person event at your local community center and hosting it in a hotel ballroom, right? It just gives it an elevated experience.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.